So the second part of the chapter that I wanted to talk about, this is chapter 13. If you're following along with me, page 218 and on. So organizing persuasive speeches, the motivated sequence. Okay, this is an important sequence, Stephen. This is really helpful for what you do next. Okay, so look at there's a particular flow of information. Number one, attention. You create an interest, you create a curiosity, you create a desire. How do you do that? How do you create attention in your listeners, in your crowd? Just because you got up and started speaking doesn't mean everybody's listening or paying attention. They may be busy, checking out their cell phone or something like that. I'm used to that. You guys got your laptops. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're doing email or something like that. Or checking out Facebook or Instagram. I don't know. The point is attention. If I don't have your attention, everything I say is pointless because you're not even listening. So how do you grab my attention? You have to intrigue me somehow. You have to say something that grabs me. So whatever that may be, maybe you bring a bottle of dirty water into class. This is what if I was doing a speech on global warming or pollution or something like that, I'd bring a bottle of water and I'd go out there, pick some dirt, mix it in there, and I'll put it in front of me and say, anybody wants a drink? Everybody's going to look at that muddy water and they're going to say, no way. And say, well, if this is the way things go, in 100 years, that's all we're going to have to drink. And did I get your attention? Yes, I got your attention. What did I do? I did a simple thing, a simple trick, a simple action that got you sucked in now to what I have to say. Now you're paying attention. Why? Because you don't want to drink dirty water. See? That's what happens. So essentially, getting attention. And then the second point is need. Look at that. You develop the problem by analyzing the wrongs in the world and relating them to the individual interests, wants, or desires. So what's wrong with the world? What is wrong? Okay? This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But what do you want? You want this, 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 this. So now I'm tapping into your need. Whatever your motivational cluster need is, I can tap into that with whatever topic. Next one is satisfaction. Propose a plan. How are you going to solve it? How are you going to fix the problem? So here's the problem we have. Guess what? I have a solution. Here's my solution. I'm still listening because I'm interested, because I have a problem. I feel bad about it. Now you're going to tell me how to solve it? I'm still listening. Next is visualization. Depict the world as it will look if the plan is put into action and if it's not. Meaning, you take my advice, that's what your life's going to look like. You don't take my advice, that's what your life is going to look like. See, that's a very, very typical way of doing a motivational speech. And then you do action. You tell people exactly what they need to do to avoid the bad result or gain the good result. Simple. This is called Monroe sequence. Okay, very, very simple. If you follow this sequence in your speech, you'll have a strong speech. Why? Because you're pulling me in, you're articulating the problem, you're giving me a solution, and you say, you better do it, because if you don't, this is what life's going to look like, and then says, okay, now go out and do it. That's it. It's that simple. And I can take that Monroe sequence and make a motivational speech about anything you want me to do. Would you like me to make a motivational speech right now? Would you like to pick a topic? Pick a topic for my motivational speech, and I'm going to use the Monroe Doctrine. Monroe sequence. Monroe Doctrine has to do with expansion of geopolitical power in the United States. Monroe sequence, I'm sorry. So we want to pick a topic for me? Just for fun. Any topic. Except global warming. Okay? What would you like me to convince you to do? Anything. Pick something you don't want to do. And I'll convince you to do it.
Do exercise?
Huh?
Do exercise?
Exercise?
Yeah.
Say exercise is easy.
Easy.
Exercise is so easy. Yeah, I can do that in my sleep. So how would you get a person to exercise? You could say, all right, you could go several different approaches. Number one, you could do the shock and awe. Shock and awe is you can tell people something that shocks them, makes them feel very uncomfortable, okay? Or you can approach the very, easy and soft way, kind of more logical. So with exercise, a lot of times people do the shock and awe. They show you a picture of a person who can't get up from their bed because they're so fat, or something like that. And they say, "You want to look like that?" And everybody goes, "No, I don't want to look like that." Or something, exercise where they show a person's grave, and they're like, "See, he didn't exercise," or something like that. There's so many shocking ways to do that, but let's pick a non-shocking way, and I'll basically say, if you don't exercise, within 10 years, you're not going to be able to tie your own shoes, because your body's going to be stiff and bulky and bulging in different places. Would you like to be able to tie your own shoes in 10 years? Simple answer. Everybody's going to say yes. Never ask a question that people are not going to say yes to. See what I mean? There's a trick to this. If I ask a question and if I'm not sure you're going to say yes or no, I'm going to rephrase that question. I always want to get a yes. Why? Because by you telling me yes, you're already agreeing with me. And I'm creating a positive environment of you actually already agree with me. I haven't even said anything. I only asked you a simple question. So I say, yes, of course I'd like to. Well, there's a problem. Obesity is on the rise. People don't exercise. We drive everywhere. We don't walk. We live in a society that's all urban. If we do walk, we walk short distances. We eat food that is highly processed, So I describe all the problems that we're facing, right? And I can cite statistics or whatever to convince you that the problem is really a problem, And then I can say, all right, there is a solution to that, It's been proven that when a person starts doing this and this and this and this, their life is improved, their mobility is improved, their health is improved. So I give you a solution of how to solve, and that's exercise. For some people it's diet and exercise, but then I move on to the visualization again. This is where I say, okay, let's say you don't. Let's say you don't change anything today. I guess you do want to not to be able to tie your shoes within 10 years. And you're like, wait a minute, no, I said I don't. I don't want to do that. So I said, well, then that's what you have to do. It's not something pleasant, it's not something fun, it's not something always exciting. You can make it fun, but we have to do it. And if you don't, there's a price to pay, like everything else in life. Would you like to eat cake all day long? Yes. Well, guess what? There's a price to pay for that. And so following a logical appeal of showing people the results of following or not following your, then you say, okay, now I want you to go and join, whatever, Life Fitness or Crunch or what. Here's a few cards I brought with me. Let me sign you up. Whatever the point is. I know a personal trainer. Anything that you want to say. But the point is, I'm just using the sequence and applying it to the exercise. You can apply it to anything. It doesn't really matter what you're trying to motivate people to do. But it's a very simple way of following on a speech. Okay? Let's see. Does that make sense how to use the sequence? This is the big question. Do you understand the sequence? Because if you do, then we're in a good place. All right. Now, there are several the textbook unfolds each one of these points a little bit further, and you can learn all the different sub-points of each step. It's a little bit more complicated than that. I just give you the short basic outline, which is kind of one glance type sequence outline, but there's a lot more. You can, especially in the satisfaction portion, there's a lot more detail that you can give to people. You can demonstrate, you can postulate with them, you can pretend that something is happening or not happening, so you can talk about your personal example, you can cite your experience, you can give statistics, you can take pros and cons, the objections, you can reason with people. Basically, the satisfaction section is where you can do the most of your thinking out loud with people, okay? This is where you can say, well, some people say, doesn't matter, exercise doesn't matter. I exercise 2 hours a day and I still, end up dead. Yeah, but at least you are able to tie your own shoes in 10 years. Sometimes life happens and you don't, healthy people get run over by a car, healthy people get sick with cancer, they're healthy in every other way, but something else happens. Genetics, yes, there's all sorts of issues, but that doesn't mean, you have to diminish your quality of life right now. You're okay right now. So that's the idea. So whichever reasoning, you have to work through the flaws in the plan, you have to work through the flaws of the logic, and work it and play it with people of how this can work. But in the end, you're still trying to move them towards the direction that you're trying to convince them. All of that, sort of say, reasoning out loud still tries to get you to the right place. So the satisfaction portion is where you do quite a bit of reasoning with people. And visualization is, I think that's the coolest part, to me. You could do the positive method and just basically tell people what the results are going to be, or you can do the negative method and just tell them how bad it's going to get, or you can do the contrast and compare, where you do both, essentially, a little bit of both. So there's you can, that depends on what it is that you're trying to achieve. But the fifth step, the action step, is actually kind of important. This is where most people do not realize that in order to close a motivational speech, you close it with an action point. What am I motivating you for if I'm not telling you to do anything? Then I'm not motivating you, really. I'm just giving you information. But the point of a motivational speech, the point of a speech to persuade, is not for you to just simply accept my point, but sometimes it may be just an acceptance of my idea. But at other times, if you actually will go out and do something, change your life, kind of an idea. Invest into this or do that, buy this or get rid of that. The whole point is that you're going to now change your life in some way because I said what I said. So it may be that you're going to change your thinking, and that's good enough. But a lot of times it's that action appeal. So what's next? So what does that mean now? How should I live now? Kind of an idea. And that is what a lot of people miss. They do everything else in a speech, but that fifth point, they skip that. And that is supposed to be the closing of a speech. That's the idea. That's how you do it.